Thanks for watching Your Plates Are Mine, where you don't have to be a professional chef to be a star in your own kitchen. I'm your host, David Miller, and I'd like to invite you to spend a little time with us as we meet some great new friends who are going to show us how to make something incredible you're going to want to make at home. Thanks for joining us for a summer episode of Your Plates Are Mine. Today we have a twist on an old classic, the BLT. Bacon, lettuce, tomato, white bread, maybe a glob of mayonnaise. It's a classic, but it's kind of boring, don't you think? We have a little twist on this. It's the Gourmet BLT. It's a basic BLT, your bacon, lettuce, tomato, but we add fresh basil leaves, smoked mozzarella, which we're going to teach you how to make, and a homemade garlic spread that's really out of this world. And to accompany all this wonderfulness, we're going to show you how to make a basil mint tea that's light and refreshing and super easy. So don't go anywhere. We're going to start with smoking cheese because it takes the longest, and you got to stick it in the fridge and let it age, otherwise it'll taste like an ashtray. So the first thing that you need is some way to smoke cheese. Now most people are going to use their old smoker, but it gets too hot. Cheese melts. You don't want to melt your cheese, so you got to use a technique called cold smoking. To cold smoke, you can do it the super cheap and easy way, which is to get a soup can. Take the lid most of the way off, but not all the way. Drill a 1/2-inch hole in the side, and then throw it in your barbecue grill to burn the liner out, because they have a little plastic liner in there. Tastes bad. Don't want it in your food. Then you get one of these little soldering irons. They're just $5–6 at the home improvement store. Drill a 1/2-inch hole in the bottom, stick the soldering iron in there, and dump your chips in there. You close the lid so it doesn't burn. You want smoke, and this will create smoke for several hours without creating a lot of heat and making your cheese melt. The other way you can do it is you can go online and find a cold smoker people manufacture. I found this one online. It's by Amazing Products. Works really well. And when I bought it, I got a bag of basically wood chips and dust. So it's really simple. In order to smoke cheese, I want to smoke it about 3 hours. Worked really well last time I did it. And you get 1 to 2 hours out of each row. So you just pack it with sawdust, light it up, put it in your grill or your smoker, and I've even seen where people have used a baking sheet and put a cardboard box over it. So it's kind of messy, I don't recommend that, but we're going to use the grill here. Now I'm going to put 2 rows of dust, and this is a combination of coarse and fine sawdust. And you want to use a mild wood like a pecan or an apple or a maple. Oak is good. Hickory is probably the limit of strong tasting wood. If you get much stronger than hickory, it's going to take on a very strong smoky flavor that a lot of people don't like in a cheese. So you just basically put your sawdust in there. Make sure it's not over the top of the bar. And it's ready to light and go in the smoker. This is my pride and joy, my UDS or ugly drum smoker. I was online noodling around because my other smoker died, and stuff is expensive. And I found a website that shows how to make these, and it's kind of a game to see how cheaply you can make a full-size smoker. Basically, it's a 55-gallon drum. If it has a liner in it, you need to burn it out so that you don't have any epoxy or paint or plastic residue, and also depending on what was in it. The new technique is to take it somewhere and let somebody sandblast all of that out. Works really well, it's inexpensive. You can get a drum for about anywhere from free to $20. I think I paid $10 for this one. You can get somebody to sandblast the inside out of these. I think the going rate's anywhere from $10 to $20. And then I made this out of parts that I found and had left over. I was dropping some trash off at the dump and somebody had a Weber grill sitting there, so I grabbed the lid. I'd found a deer antler out in the woods one day and had that laying around, so I made a handle out of it. And then I've got the old grate from a Weber grill. And other than that, all you need is a drill. I drilled 4 holes around the outside and put some carriage bolts in for the grate to sit on. I drilled a hole, and I did purchase a temperature thermometer here so I know what the temperature is inside the smoker. And then you drill 4 holes in the bottom. In keeping with the theme of going cheap, instead of putting some pipe fittings in there, I just use refrigerator magnets. Now I let it get a little too hot last time and they're starting to melt, but they still work fine. If it starts getting too hot, just slide the refrigerator magnet over the hole and it cuts down the airflow. So, since we got this ready, I'm gonna go ahead and get prepped to get our cheese on here. All right, when you smoke the cheese, you wanna make sure that you get some surface area. So, what I have here is a Colby Jack. I've got some sharp white cheddar. I've got some mild white cheddar, and then here we are, the mozzarella. So the bigger chunks, I'm just gonna cut these into a more manageable size, about like that. Same thing with the big log of cheddar, because I want some good smoky flavor all the way through that. And you don't have to be super precise. It doesn't matter if they're not uniform. And there you go. So these are ready to go on the smoker. So I'm going to fire up my cold smoking device, get that ready, put that in the bottom. Then I'm going to set my cheese on the grate, and I'm going to add a bowl of ice because it's supposed to get a little warm today. I'm going to smoke this for 3 hours, and I don't want it to get too hot and melt and fall through. So I'm going to put a bowl of ice in there to help keep the temperature down. Now I'm going to go ahead and light up my amazing smoker device here. There's a little hole in the end. So I'm just going to fire up a little torch. There we go. I'm just going to get that smoking. Takes about 30 to 40 seconds. And all I'm trying to do is just get the sawdust to where it's got kind of a glow on the end like a cigar. But this has a neat design. It's perforated. I believe it's all stainless steel, and it allows air in so that your sawdust doesn't go out. And it's shaped like a maze. It's got a zigzag in it. So you light one end of it, and it burns down and around and around and around. So you can get, gosh, 12 or 15 hours out of this thing if you fill the whole thing up. So there we go. We're starting to get a nice little bit of cherry red on the end. There we go. Get a nice little ash going. And then you want to blow the flames out. Blow on that ash just a little bit to make sure it's going, and then you'll put it in the bottom of your smoker or your grill. So, and you want kind of this light blue, white blue smoke. So that's ready to go. I'm going to go stick it in the smoker, and then we'll put the grate back on and put our cheese on top. Cheese is sitting on the grill. It's spaced out so everybody can get some smoke. I'm going to put just a bowl of ice in there to help keep the temperature down. And since I'm going to the trouble of running the smoker, I'm going to throw a little extra in there. It's just a little aluminum foil pan full of kosher salt. So I'm going to have smoked salt to use in rubs and other recipes down the road. I do recommend if you're going to run the smoker, don't just put one little piece on there. If you're going to take the time and effort, throw a couple of different kinds of cheese on. Makes great snacks during the summer. Have a little cheese and crackers. This is one of my secret weapons when it comes to having really tasty treats. Impress your friends, this kind of thing. It's roasted garlic. Couldn't be easier. All you need is a head of garlic, some tin foil, and an oven. What you do is you take the garlic and you peel some of the extra papers off the outside so you don't have too much of that in the way. Then on the this would be the stem end. The other end, you're going to slice off just enough to expose the garlic cloves. Like so. So you can see the garlic cloves. You set it in your tin foil. Drizzle a little bit of olive oil on it. Not a lot, just enough. Kind of moisten the top of it. and then seal it up real well in the aluminum foil. Make a little baseball out of it. Now that's ready to go in the oven. Pop that in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes, and it caramelizes and creates a much mellower, much richer flavor than raw garlic. It's a winner. Super easy, super versatile garlic spread. Through the magic of television, here is a garlic head that we had previously roasted. It's nice to get them done a little bit early, otherwise you burn your fingers when you do this part. You're just going to turn it upside down and squeeze that wonderful roasted garlic out into the bowl. And let me get a fork and get those little wonderful little cloves of garlic out of there. There we go. There's one or two over here. Come on, kids, off the bus. There we are. And then you just take your fork and you mash it up. And as you mash it up, you're going to add just a little bit of olive oil. Not too much. And a pinch of salt. A small pinch of salt. Since we're doing bacon lettuce tomato sandwiches, bacon tends to be pretty salty, so you don't want to oversalt this. Now here again, time management. I always like to make several of these. So if I'm doing BLTs today, that's probably all I'm going to need for BLTs. But tomorrow I can make just about anything. Nice appetizers. Put this in pasta. It's really, really good. So all you're doing is mixing it up a little bit till it's creamy, and then it's ready to spread.